Alright, here it is, the Maliss guide. I will quickly show you how this guide is structured. There's the introduction, that is what I am doing right now. And there will be a Dormouse 1-card combo. I will also show you a White Rabbit 1-card combo, a Gold Sarcophagus 1-card combo, and a Field Spell 1-card combo, which are the most important 1-card combos. The first combo I will show you with the Dormouse. There I will explain all the cards. We will read all the cards together. So if you want to learn what the cards do in general, go look for that combo. There are timestamps in the description or in the video basically. And then I will go over every combo, but won't explain the cards, but will explain some intricacies of the combos. And at the end, I have a deck profile for you that you can use on the day to play the new Maliss deck. And without further ado, let's hop right in. So we have the 1-card Dormouse combo here, and we are going to start to read the cards. So we have Dormouse, our best starter here. Maliss link monsters that point to this card cannot be destroyed by card effects. All of the little Maliss monsters have these little effects that are actually kind of nice, but we will come to this in a second. And then we have, during your main phase, we can activate this effect for cost. Banish 1 Maliss monster from the deck. Also for the rest of this turn, Maliss monsters you control gain 600. This is relevant because this means you can kill your opponent with an Accescode Talker and one of your Maliss Link 3s. And then if this card is banished, you can pay 300 life points. Special summon it. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of this turn except Link monsters. Doesn't really matter because we are only playing Link monsters here. So yeah, all of them have this effect that they can be banished and then brought back via paying life points. So we are going to start normal summon the Dormouse here. And then we are going to activate Dormouse's effect to banish another Maliss monster. There are two options here. We are banishing the White Rabbit. You could also banish the new March Hare. And now we can activate White Rabbit's effect because Rabbit also has the revive effect to get her back to the field. Activate White Rabbit's effect to set a trap. So White Rabbit says you take no damage from battles involving Maliss Link monsters that point to this card. And then you also have, when this card is normal or special summoned, you can set one Maliss trap from your deck with a different name than the card is in your grave. And then once again, if this card is banished, pay 300 to special summon it. We have one of the traps, which is Maliss CTB11, which is a card you can play, but you can also opt to not play. This makes some combos better, but is a brick in the deck, so you decide. I will show you CBT11 combos here. You can activate this card by the turn it was set by banishing one face-up Maliss monster you control. All of the traps can be activated the turn they are set. You special summon one Maliss monster from your deck, or if your opponent controls 3 or more cards, you can special summon one Maliss Link monster from your extra deck instead. For the rest of this turn, that summoned monster cannot attack, neither player can activate its effects. So this is something to keep in mind. You can summon the boss monsters, for example the Crypter that we will take a look at in a second, that can banish something, but they will be negated. But if you combine the Maliss CTB11 with the banishment trap that I will show you later on, then you can actually, if you have both of these traps, the CBT11 and the Maliss banishment trap, the MTP07, you can in theory banish a monster on your opponent's turn, but I will explain this in a second here. So now we have two bodies. We set the TB11 and we can now activate TB11 by banishing one Maliss monster. In this case, because we already have banished the White Rabbit, we are banishing the Dormouse because she did not come back to summon the third Maliss base monster, the Chessy Cat. And then we are going to activate Dormouse's effect to special summon the Dormouse. So we have Chessy Cat, the last one in the bunch, which is definitely one card that is not a starter on its own, so that's why there is no combo for her. Any monster destroyed by a battle with a Maliss Link monster that points to this card is banished. Can be very relevant if, for example, you attack over a Druid's Worm that then is not activating in the graveyard. This one has the effect during your main phase you can banish one Maliss card from your hand and then you can draw 2 cards. Can be very nice sometimes. For example, if you start with a Chessy Cat and let's say a Dormouse or a White Rabbit, then normally your best starter would be the Dormouse, normal summon the Dormouse, but you can also normal summon the Chessy Cat, banish the Dormouse, which then obviously will come back and you have already drawn 2 cards. This changes up the combo a bit, so be aware of that. You should know the base combos that I show you here first. And then you can pay 300 life points, special summon it, you know the drill. We have 3 bodies and now we are going to use the Chessy Cat here to make a Link Decoder. If you're not aware, Link Decoder, if you use this for the Link summon of a 2/3 Cybers monster, which all of these Maliss monsters, the boss monsters, the exotic monsters are, then it will come back but will get banished afterwards. So this is an additional body. At this point we are at 4 summons and now we are going to summon the first Maliss exotic monster, the Red Ransom. Now we are at 5 summons, but throughout this Dormouse combo we will actually be safe from Nip. Not directly safe from Nip, but we will be able to continue our plays. I will explain. all of the, so this is the important part, all of the Maliss extra deck monsters need a Maliss name, so you can't never make them without a Maliss monster, you always need a Maliss monster. And the important difference is that the White Binder and the Red Ransom, they can be made with 2 monsters, whereas the boss monster, the Heart's Crypter, which can banish, needs to be done with 3 monsters. There's a big difference. So the Red Ransom. Maliss monsters, while this card points to a monster, the original attack and defense of all effect monsters your opponent controls are switched. Very important, keep in mind to place this if it makes sense, otherwise don't place it. For example, you can change the attack of a Nibiru, opponent's Nibiru, from 3000 to 600 if you place her right. If this card is special summoned, you can add 1 Maliss spell from your deck to your hand, and then if this card is banished, you can pay 900 life points, special summon it, then you can banish 1 Cybers monster from your deck. So all of the big Maliss monsters can be resummoned once by paying 900 life points, and then they have an extra effect. In this case, we can banish a Cybers monster. So we are going to activate here, and then we are going to chain the Link Decoder. You want to go chaining 1 Red Ransom, chaining 2 Link Decoder just to chain block this search here. If you already have, for example, the field spell, you could also chain block it the other way around to get the Link Decoder to the field, because this can be ghost spelled, obviously. We are going to revive the Link Decoder here, and then the Red Ransom, we're going to add the field spell. We are nip safe at this point, because if you get nipped here, then we have not yet used our Red Ransom's effect to come back and also banish a Cybers monster, which is another body. So if we get nipped here, we still have our Maliss in Underground that can banish the Red Ransom. Red Ransom will then come back and banish another Maliss monster that then can also come back, and from there on we can work with our Splash Mage into our Maliss White Binder. I will explain this playing through nip situation in a second here. So we add the field spell, and now we can make a use of our SP Little Knight, because we want to banish the Red Ransom from the grave next, and if we can, we want to keep our Maliss in Underground to not banish it. So Maliss in Underground, quickly read this. When this card is activated, you can banish a Maliss card from your hand, deck, or graveyard, while 3 or more traps, different Maliss traps with different names, are banished. Maliss Link monsters you control gain 3000 attack, and very important, while you control a Maliss Link monster, your opponent's monster can only target Maliss Link monsters for attacks. So this saves an IP Masquerina, should you make her, on the end board if you have another Maliss monster live. So we made the SP Little Knight targeting our Red Ransom, banishing Red Ransom, and now we can activate her. Now she comes back and we can send a Cybers monster to the banishment. In this case, we are going to send the March here, which is the second support wave card, very important and very good card. Your opponent cannot target Maliss Link monsters that point to this card with card effects, so you can basically protect your Maliss Link monsters through different means. During the main phase, if this card is in your hand, quick effect, so yours and your opponent's, you can banish 1 other Maliss card from your hand or graveyard, and if you do, special summon this card. If this card is banished, you can pay 300 life points and target 1 of your banished Maliss monsters and add it to your hand. We are paying 300, adding back the March share here. So now we have 2 ways in our hand to banish something from the graveyard, which is very, very important. If the opponent nips us here, then we can go SP Little Knight, we target the Red Ransom and Little Knight, get both of them back, which is already interruption. So if you want to nip your opponent when it comes to Maliss, you definitely want to wait until Red Ransom has resolved, because otherwise she can just come back. But if our opponent nips us here now, we can firstly use our SP Little Knight, target these 2 and banish them, get them back at the end phase, and then we still have our Underground and March here. March here can then activate to banish something from the graveyard here. She will then be special summoned, and with the nip token that you are getting, and this is why we are playing this card in the extra deck, by the way, you can make a Link Spider. At that point you have 2 Cybers bodies which can make a Splash Mage. The Splash Mage can revive any of the Maliss monsters, and with these 2 bodies you can go into the White Binder. We will talk about the White Binder in a second, but if you can establish the White Binder on the field and can get her effect through, then you are basically have played around nip. So at this point we are still safe from nip, kind of as safe as Maliss can be from nip, because we can still extend. Next thing we are going to do is we are going to link away all of these into the White Binder, and then we can also activate White Binder's effect. So let's read White Binder. One of the most important or the strongest monsters that we have here. If this card is special summoned, you can target up to 3 cards in any graveyard, banish them. During your main phase, you can set 1 Maliss trap from your deck or graveyard, and if this card is banished, you pay 900, special summon this and draw a card. So we are going to use this effect. We are going to banish the Chessy Cat and also the Maliss CBT11, and at this point we can activate our Chessy Cat since she has not come back yet, and we can summon her to the field. The next thing you definitely always want to do is activate White Binder to set the next trap, the GVC06. If you have established this point here, where you have the White Binder and a GVC06 on field, or a March Hare and a White Binder, then you have basically played around Nip. Because if you get nipped here, then White Binder will go to the grave, and you can revive the White Binder either through March Hare, banishing her, or through GVC06, reviving her. So GVC06, you can activate this card by the turn it was set by banishing one face-up Maliss monster you control, same thing as with the other traps. Special summon one of your Maliss monsters that is banished or in your graveyard. Then, if you control a Maliss Link monster, so if you summon her obviously, then you control a Maliss Link monster, you can gain life points equal to the original attack of that special summoned monster. Very important, because sometimes you will get low on life points, and for example resummoning a White Binder gives you 2-3 attack, which is actually a lot. So we have set the GVC06 with the White Binder here. Next thing we are going to do is activate Accescode's effect to banish a Maliss card from our hand and draw 2 cards. In this case we banish the Underground because we don't need it anymore. We have the March Hare, which is also able to draw, basically banish something if we need it. We still have the White Binder that we can banish with the March Hare, so we are still basically safe from Nip, and we also have established everything that we need at this point. We are going to draw 2 extra cards here, and then you're going to summon these into an Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess. You can make the Appaloosa earlier on, but you can't make her so early that you are not nibbable basically. So we are making this here, Appaloosa for 2, then we're activating our March Hare, banishing our White Binder because she didn't come back now, and then we can activate White Binder, resummon her, draw another card, and then we can link them away for a Firewall Dragon. So this is our end board. This is what it looks like. We have an Appaloosa for negate 2. We have Firewall Dragon that can bounce up to the number of calling monsters. In this case, you can bounce 1 from the field or the graveyard monsters. And we will place next turn either the White Binder or the Red Ransom in such a way that you can actually bounce 3 if you wanted to, because you can make it so that White Binder points to Firewall Dragon and also the Red Ransom. So what is happening on our opponent's turn? Let's pass over and let's say at some point we want to interrupt our opponent. So now we activate GVC06. Obviously it makes sense to wait with this until maybe there's something in your opponent's graveyard that you want to banish with the White Binder, for example, I don't know, a Fiendsmith card or something. We're going to get our White Binder back, putting it in the Firewall or next to the Firewall Dragon basically. Then we are gaining our life points. We're activating White Binder to target March Hare, Red Ransom and Dormouse. Once again, if there's something in your opponent's graveyard that you want to get rid of, you target this, but you definitely want to target the Red Ransom, and if you can, March Hare is also very nice. The Dormouse is more optional. Keep in mind here that you do not want to go too far, because if you like summon too many monsters, then you are once again nibbable. So at this point we have summoned once, and we will summon 4 times overall on this turn. So we banish all of this, and then you are going Chainlink 1 Red Ransom because she's the most important one, Dormouse 2, and then you can go March Hare, Chainlink 3, or you could also put the Dormouse in Chainlink 3, but it's important to have the March Hare at the first Chainlink. So we are re-adding our March Hare, which once again gives us the ability to banish stuff from our graveyard, either on our opponent's turn or on our next turn, which is very strong. Then Dormouse will come back. You can put it here so that this effect basically is intact. Link monsters that points to this card cannot be destroyed by card effects, so White Binder is protected now. And then you summon Red Ransom at this point here, where once again she cannot be destroyed by card effects. And obviously we can now also banish something because Red Ransom came back. This is her effect, remember. We are banishing the White Rabbit to get another interruption on our field in a second. And then you go Chainlink 1 Red Ransom, Chainlink 2 White Rabbit to resummon. You're going to resummon the White Rabbit here, and then Red Ransom can either get another field spell or the Maliss in the Mirror, which is the other spell card we will talk about in a second. And then you activate White Rabbit's effect to set the last trap that we have in the deck, which is MTP07. You can activate this card the turn it was set by banishing 1 face-up Maliss monster you control. Add 1 Maliss monster from your deck to your hand. Then, if you control a Maliss Link monster, you can banish 1 card on the field, non-target. So this is what I was talking about earlier. If you have in your hand the TB11 as well as the MTP07, then you can wait until your opponent controls 3 monsters, activate TB11 to summon any Maliss Link monster, which is negated, but then you have a Maliss Link monster, and at that point you can use MTP07 because then you control a Maliss Link monster to banish a card on the field non-targeting. So this is where an MTP07 together with a TB11, should you ever open it, is an interruption basically. By the way, I have banished the TB11 with the White Binder just so that you have some stuff that you can shuffle back for the effect of the Heart's Crypter. We will talk about Heart's Crypter in a moment here. So we set the MTP07. And the crazy thing is, and this is where Maliss is so strong, is that even if your opponent can play through all of these interruptions, Mind you, we have 3 extra cards in our hand. We have our March Hare back, we have this banishment, we have this that can banish something, we have this that can bounce cards, and then we have the Appaloosa that can negate for 2. By the way, if you want to bounce more cards, the Red Ransom should have been placed here, but then Red Ransom isn't protected by Dormouse, so you pick whatever you want to do basically. If your opponent can play through this, you have so much follow-up that we will most likely just win the game on the next turn. This is where Maliss is just crazy. And then obviously you can use this MTPO7. Here you want to banish the Whitebinder to banish you pick whatever to banish the card on the field, because Whitebinder didn't come back this turn, and you can then draw another card. So Whitebinder activate, draw another card, and it's obviously clear. Look at how many cards we have added throughout this turn. We have started with 1 card, and now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards in our hand, and we have a field that is full of bodies. So if your opponent can break this field, it's very likely that on the next turn you can just go March Hare, banish the Whitebinder again, Whitebinder banishes everything again, everything comes back again. This deck has crazy follow-up if your opponent should ever be able to break this board. This is achieved with 1 Dormouse, and we are nip safe throughout the entire process. Now I will show you the Dormouse combo quickly, and then all of the other combos quickly without explaining all the cards, but I will also point out some plays, and I'll give you more information when we come to the deck profile. Alright, here's the 1 card Dormouse combo without the card explanations. If you want to see that, look at the combo I did before. We have the 1 card, the Dormouse in the hand. Dormouse is going to activate the effect to banish White Rabbit. We are going to activate White Rabbit. She comes back, and now we set TB11. All of the combos I show you are TB11 combos here. Now we want to use TB11 banish the Dormouse because she has not yet been banished to get Chessy-Cat. Now Dormouse can come back to the field. Now we are going Chessy-Cat into a Link Decoder, which can come back if we make a 2/3 Cybers monster. All of them into Red Ransom. At this point we can be nipped, but we are safe from nip because Red Ransom has not yet been banished. Chain Link 1 Red Ransom, Chain Link 2 Decoder, so we can chain block this Red Ransom for an Ash Blossom. Then we are going to add to our hand the field spell. We are once again nip safe here. Going to use 2 of these to make an SP Little Knight so we can banish our Red Ransom. Target the Red Ransom. We are going to banish her, and then Red Ransom comes back and will banish from our deck the March Hare. Activate March Hare to get it back to the hand. At this point we are once again nip safe. If nip comes here, we can use the SP Little Knight, target both of them, banish them, and then you can still go March Hare, banish any of the Maliss names, and then you have 1 Cybers body, and then you use the nip token to make a Link Spider. Then you have 2 Cybers bodies. 2 Cybers bodies make a Splash Mage. Splash Mage revive one of the Maliss monsters. You make a Whitebinder. Whitebinder set the revive trap, and then you are basically have played around nip, so to say. Now we are going to link these into the Whitebinder effect to banish from the graveyard the Chessy-Cat TB11. Then we are going to activate Chessy-Cat and get it back to the field. At this point we can use Whitebinder's effect to set GVC 06, activate Chessy-Cat, banish in Underground because we still have the March Hare to banish something, keep that in mind. And then we are going to link them into our Appaloosa. You can make the Appaloosa earlier, but you can never, at least in this version without the Mathmech stuff, make it before 6 summons. Then you go March Hare to banish the Whitebinder because she has not yet been banished. Whitebinder to be resummoned and draw a card here, and then use both of these to make a Firewall Dragon, which can bounce up to the number of co-linked monsters, any monsters on field or graveyard. We pass over, and in our opponent's turn, just to show you the interruptions, at any point we can activate GV06, get back our Whitebinder to maybe banish something from our opponent's graveyard, maybe a Fiendsmith card. In this case we will banish from our own graveyard the Red Ransom, the March Hare and Dormouse. The important one is the Red Ransom, and then you could also go ahead and just banish 2 from the opponent's grave. But if you can banish the March Hare and the Dormouse, this will give you more follow-up, but once again you can also banish from your opponent's grave, but make sure that you banish the Red Ransom because this gives you another interruption. Chaining 1 Red Ransom, chaining 2 Dormouse, chaining 3 March Hare. We are going to get back the March Hare to the hand for follow-up plays. Dormouse will be on the field, also protecting our Whitebinder and our Red Ransom from being destroyed by card effects if you place her here in the middle, because this is one of her effects. And then Red Ransom on the side of Dormouse. We are going to banish the White Rabbit, resummon the White Rabbit. We are going chaining 1 Red Ransom for a field spell or for the Malice in the Mirror, chaining 2. We are going to revive White Rabbit here so that she can set our next interruption here. White Rabbit is going to be resummoned, and then we can can add follow-up via field spell or Maliss in the mirror, and then White Rabbit effect to set MTPO7 so that we can also banish something. If you banish something, and just to show you, let's say our opponent sets something, we activate MTPO7, you need to banish a Maliss monster for this. Go ahead and banish the White Binder because she can come back and draw you a card. We are banishing this, and now White Binder can also come back, draw you a card. And as you can see right here, and this is the crazy thing, we have a full field with a lot of interruptions, and we have, over the process, with 1 card starting, by the way, we have drawn 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards, which is something your opponent should never be able to play through. And even if you have a lot of follow-ups, so really crazy. Let me show you the White Rabbit combo. Okay, let's go for the White Rabbit combo. The important thing to understand is that White Rabbit on its own is not nip safe. There are some options, I will explain in a second. We go White Rabbit here, activate White Rabbit effect to set TB11. Then we are activating TB11 here, banish the White Rabbit, summon the Dormouse, and then we will get back the White Rabbit. Keep in mind that this is negated basically because this was summoned by TB11, so we can't use Dormouse right here. At this point, what you always want to achieve with your Maliss combo is basically a third body, so you can go into either the White Binder or the Red Ransom. This is always what you want to do. So what we are going to make here is a Splash Mage. Keep in mind though that Splash Mage locks you into Cyber. So if you have Bestials in your hand, then at this point you want to go for any one of these into a Lingo Rebo and then make an SP Little Knight. Because SP Little Knight can then go ahead and banish this Dormouse here, and she will come back. So then you have once again 3 bodies that you can then continue your combo with. What we were going to do is here we use Splash Mage to revive Dormouse so that we can continue. But once again, if you have Bestials in your hand, it might be more wise to either use Hazard Legados if you play this extra deck card, or the SP Little Knight at this point with a Lingo Rebo. If you don't have Bestials, you don't really need to mind here because then the Cyber's lock is not that impactful. So we are going to make a Splash Mage here so that we can continue our climb. Here would be a very important or good imperm point, for example. Splash Mage, target the Dormouse. Very important here to target the card that has not yet been banished, in this case the Dormouse, because if your opponent has a Bestial, he cannot really use it here. He can use it, but then the Dormouse will get banished and you get her back either way. If, for example, I target the White Rabbit, which has already been banished, my opponent Bestials this, then obviously I have a problem because then I can get the body back. Here we can now go into the Red Ransom like we have done before, and we are going to add to our hand Maliss in Underground. Now we need to use Maliss in Underground because we need an additional body, because otherwise our Red Ransom is stuck here on the field, as we have to use it up, unfortunately, banishing our Maliss in the mirror. Target one face-up card, your face-up monster your opponent controls, banish one Maliss monster from your hand or face-up field, and if you do, negate the targeted monster's effect until the end of this turn, so this is a negate. But also, if this card is banished, you can target one Maliss card in your graveyard, so either monster, trap or spell, banish it, and if you do, add one Maliss card of the same type, monster, spell or trap, from your deck to the hand. So we have banished this. Now we can activate this, banishing the Dormouse here, which has not yet been banished, adding the March Hare to the hand. Next thing we are going to do is we are going to activate the Dormouse. So now we once again have a body. Keep in mind we have not yet used Red Ransom. So at this point we have used Red Ransom, sorry. At this point we are no longer nip safe compared to the Dormouse combo, because if we now use the March Hare here, then we have the problem that we have already used up our Splash Mage. So you can go for the SP Little Knight line to basically keep your Splash Mage, but then you have to play a different line and you have to banish the Dormouse early on. So next we are going to activate Dormouse, banishing Chessy Cat, going to revive the Chessy Cat here. And now we can go Chessy Cat effect, draw 2, and our March Hare, because we have added her with the Maliss in the mirror, can now be activated to once again come back to our hand. Very nice, have drawn 2 cards in this combo. Going to make a Link Decoder, you always want to use this guy if you can, and then link 3 into a White Binder. Here at this point we are going to activate White Binder targeting TB11 if you want to, and then Link Decoder. By the way, you should have chained this, or I should have chained this the other way around, because the banishment of the White Binder isn't that important. We don't have any more targets that can be banished and come back. So what you should do here is Link Decoder chain link 1, so it can't be ghost spelled, and then you can go White Binder on the trap chain link 2. The reason why we are banishing the traps or anything here is for the effect of the hard Crypter. We will talk about this in another combo. But also if you have banished all the traps, then all of your Maliss link monsters monsters gain 3000 attack. It's not that important, but just keep this in mind. So do it the other way around here. Link Decoder comes back, and at this point we are going to banish the TB11. We activate Whitebinder here to set the GVC06. Now we can link away both of these into a Firewall Dragon, and we have not yet banished the Whitebinder, so we go March Hare, banish the Whitebinder, summon the March Hare, then Whitebinder can come back and we can draw a card here. And now we are just going into, there are different options actually. Because we are Cybers locked, we cannot use the Whitebinder and the March Hare to go into an Appaloosa. So you could have also made like an IP Masquerina, for example, but we can also go into one of our other boss monsters, Firewall Dragon, Dark Fluid, Neo Tempest Terahertz, activate the effect, optimally in the end phase by the way, to send a Cybers Desave Worm, which is a spell trap negate, and then on our opponent's turn we can also use the Neo Dark Fluid to send a Mereologic Aggregator to the graveyard, which this card, if it hits the graveyard, can then target a card on the field and negate it. So this card alone is a spell trap negate and also can send a monster or a card negate to the graveyard. We also have the GVC06 that basically does the same thing as you have seen with the Dormouse combo. Get back your Whitebinder, banish your Red Ransom, banish March Hare, banish anything from opponent's graveyard, then resummon the White Rabbit, set the banishment trap. Now I will show you the Gold Sarcophagus combo. So we are starting Gold Sarcophagus here. It's important to note that we will have banished our 2 base monsters early on. So let's see how this works. Gold Sarcophagus, we are going to banish, in this case, the Dormouse, going to revive the Dormouse here, and then once again you're going Dormouse, banish the White Rabbit, and going to revive it. At this point here we are basically at the same point as in the White Rabbit combo, but you can't use an SP here because both of them have already been banished. Very important to keep an eye on which monsters you have already banished. We are going to activate to set the TB11, which isn't great here because once again if you banish something it won't come back. At this point we need to use our Splash Mage to be effective, so go Splash Mage here. It doesn't matter what you target here because both have already been banished. Get back the Dormouse, make a Red Ransom. At this point we are nip safe because if, for example, a nip is activated here, we still have our TB11 that can banish Red Ransom. We will have our field spell that can banish Red Ransom. Now we're activating TB11, banish Red Ransom, summon the Chessy Cat because she's not yet in rotation. Keep in mind she's negated here. Now we're activating the Red Ransom. She comes back and will send to the banishment the March Hare. Activate a March Hare to get a March Hare back to the hand. And at this point, if we get nipped here, we still can play through. Can we play through? No, we can't play through because we already have used our Splash Match actually. We are going to go normal summon the March Hare, then going into a Link Decoder here into the middle zone. We are going to get all of them into a Whitebinder, you know the drill. Then we are going to activate the Whitebinder targeting Chessy and TB and Link Decoder to come back. So Link Decoder comes back to the field and we are also getting back our Chessy Cat in a moment. Here activate Chessy Cat, come back to the field, and at this point we can use Whitebinder's effect to set GVC06. We are going to link away all of these into a Heart's Crypter. Obviously you could also just, I want to show you the boss monster here, you could have also linked them away into once again the Neo Dark Dragon Fluid, Neo Tempest Terahertz, which probably might have been better, but we will continue the line and we'll be able to get him in a second here. So we have Maliss, Q, Heart's Crypter. 3 monsters, including a Maliss monster. Quick effect, you can target one of your banished Maliss cards, shuffle it into the deck, and if you do, banish one card on the field, non-targeting. Very important one, while this card points to a monster, this effect and its activations cannot be negated. So even if this is impermed, this still works, the effect still works. If this card is banished, you can pay 900 life points, special summon it, and double its attack. Very important for finishing the game. We are going to activate an Underground to banish the White Rabbit. White Rabbit will be resummoned here, and we are going to draw another card, and then we are going to make a Firewall Dragon. So you might be asking here, okay, now the Heart's Crypter is in the graveyard, but keep in mind that we can revive with the GVC06 our Whitebinder, and Whitebinder can then get the Red Ransom as well as the Heart's Crypter banished, which then they can come back. So we have a non-targeting banishment with Heart's Crypter. We have Red Ransom that can send the White Rabbit for the non-targeting banishment trap. We have the bounce of the Firewall Dragon and all of the other interruptions. Now I will show you what you can do with the field spell. So now we are starting with the field spell here. We are going to draw the field spell. It's kind of like the Gold Sarcophagus, but a bit different. We are going field spell here, once again banishing our Dormouse, like with the Gold Sarcophagus. Dormouse comes back to the field, activating Dormouse to banish the white rabbit. Activate rabbit here, and rabbit is going to be activating to set TB11. We are going to go once again Splash Mage, and once again the Splash Mage will revive whatever here, doesn't matter because both have already been banished. And then we are going into our Red Ransom. At this point, because we already have the field spell, we are going to add the Maliss in the mirror to our hand, which is an interruption. Once again, TB11 banishes for Chassis Cat, and then we can go Red Ransom to get back to the field, and then also banish a March Hare here. We are going to activate March Hare, get this back to the hand, and then we are going to normal summon March Hare once again. Like in the same combo before, we go Link Decoder here, and we can now go link them away into the White Binder. We are going to be going channeling one White Binder on Chassis, TB, and in this case you can also banish the Marcher if you want to have something, another monster in the banishment here. Link Decoder comes back to the field, and we banish the other ones. We activate Chassis Cat. Chassis Cat will come back to the field. At this point we can set the GVC 06, and here you can decide, you can either go Chassis Cat to banish Maliss in the mirror and draw 2 cards, or you could keep Maliss in the mirror as an interruption. This is something you have to decide for yourself. We are going to banish it here, for example, drawing 2 cards, and then you can also activate Maliss in the mirror, banish the Dormouse to grab through the hand a March Hare. So what you can get here is a March Hare, so that you have an additional way for banishing the White Binder and 2 cards, or you could decide to keep the Maliss in the mirror as an interruption. This is like preference. I think that the banishment draw to get the March Hare is better, but you decide for yourself. Get the March Hare here, which now we can link these away into Heart's Crypter, and you can continue from here because we now have the March Hare. If you have kept the Maliss in the mirror, then you can't really continue, because what we can do right here is either use the March Hare or the Maliss GVC 06. We are using the March Hare here to banish White Binder, and now we are going to activate White Binder, pay in order to draw. And here once again we can link all of them away into a Firewall Dragon, Neo Tempest Terahertz, activate this guy to send Device Worm. And once again we have the GVC 06 to revive the White Binder, and White Binder revives Heart's Crypter, Red Ransom, which Red Ransom can then get the White Rabbit, and White Rabbit can get the Banishment Trap like you have seen in the other replays. If you're not aware of how the cards work, go and watch the 1-card Dormouse long edition, basically, where I explain all the cards and also some intricacies. And now let me show you how you can basically kind of easily finish the game with the deck before I show you the deck list. So now let me show you how you can very easily finish a game with this deck. Let's say our opponent plays a card. It's very important that our opponent has at least 1 card on the field, otherwise the Accescode Talker line does not work. There's also the Crypter line. So we go Dormouse here. So the most important part is that we need to basically reach one of our Link 3 bodies, and then we need an additional body so we can make an Accescode Talker. So I don't know, we go to or through our basic line here. Let's just assume we go basic line. We are going to, in this case, banish the Dormouse here to get the Chassis Cat. Obviously with this line we are going to play into an Ebio, but you might already have, because it's obviously second turn, might already have bodies on the board if this is, I don't know, the 4th or 6th turn already. At this point we can already basically make it. We're going to make a Link Decoder here, and then, so it doesn't really matter, don't get this combo into your head. This is not the important part. And then you can make any of the Link 3s, basically. It doesn't really matter which one you make. Let's say we make Crypter here, because all we need is the Link 3 body and then another body on the field. And now we can use these bodies to make the Accescode Talker, and we are going to activate Accescode Talker's effect in order to get attack points. You will always basically can be able to target this Link 3. So we have 5/3 now, and now we can activate the effect. This is why we need 1 body on the field. Banish your Link 3 Maliss monster and destroy the card, and then the Link 3 Maliss monster will be able to come back. And you can see right here that this is more than enough to just kill your opponent, right? Also, if you make the Red Ransom or the White Binder, I know that they have less attack, but because you have activated Dormouse, Dormouse gives everything 600 attack push. So also the White Binder and the Red Ransom are enough attack points to basically kill your opponent from 8000. But you can also kill your opponent just with the Hearts Crypter, and that I will show you now. Okay, you can also use the Hearts Crypter to kill your opponent. It's important to note here that if you want to only use Hearts Crypter yourself, there cannot be a monster on your opponent's field, but I will show you how this works. So firstly, just ignore what we are doing right here. It's basically that you have to get 2 Hearts Crypter and also optimally need something that is banished here. So I'm speeding through this. I'm making some plays here just to generate a few bodies. Also make Link Decoder, we're going to White Binder because then we have something in the banishment. I just have to set up the situation right here. The White Binder can banish the Accescode and also the Trap. We are going to get 3 bodies where we can make Hearts Crypter. You're going to set GVCO6. So here's the thing. We have the Hearts Crypter now, which at the moment has 3100 attack. If the board would be empty here, we have the Alexandrite Dragon, then you could go ahead and just go battle phase, attack with the Hearts Crypter for 3100 damage. Then you can activate Hearts Crypter's effect, shuffle back one of your banished ones, which in this case will be TB11. Then you banish herself, and then she will come back because she was banished with double the attack points. In this case, she would have a 6200 attack, and this is 9300 damage. So Crypter on its own on an empty field with the ability to banish herself via something in the graveyard can just finish the game. You can do the same if you have the GVCO6 with this setup that we have right here, and this is what I'm going to show you right now. So we go battle phase, activate Crypter to remove the last body here, the Alexandrite Dragon, and then you can also just do this with the GVCO6. You just have to banish the Crypter somehow. So if you have nothing that you can shuffle back here, then if you have a GVCO6, this also works because you can attack for 3-1 and then activate GVCO6, banish her, get any body back from the graveyard here with the GVCO6, doesn't matter, and then she will also come back with 6-2 and you will finish the game. In this more complicated case, I guess you banish whatever is on the field, attack, then use GVCO6, banish her, get the White Binder back, get life points, and then she can come back and finish the game right here. In most cases, the Accescode Talker line will probably be more effective. Also, you can bait a nip with the Accescode Talker line, or you can force a nip basically, because if they don't react, they will lose the game. But this is how you can finish the game very, very easily with either the Crypter or the Accescode Talker. So here's the decklist that you could potentially play, obviously, and I will talk about this in a second. There are different options that you can choose right here. For non-engine, I think it makes sense to play a nip in this Maliss format, because nip can actually be nice, as you seen in some combos, especially with the White Rabbit. We are playing triple Chessy Cat. In this case, if you play the Allure of Darkness F3, which you can try, this is obviously very nice. You draw 2 cards, then you can banish a Dark Monster, and if you banish any of your Maliss base names, and then you get a lot of advantage points. If you want to make this a bit more consistent, because in this case we have 3, 6, 9, 12 Dark Monsters, you can play more Bestials, which are also Dark Monsters, so then this Allure of Darkness would be a bit more consistent, but this is up to you. If you want to play Allure of Darkness, you should play triple Chessy Cat. If, for example, you don't play Allure and play Bestials, which you can also do, then you do not need the triple Chessy Cat, then you can also get away with 2. We want to play triple White Rabbit because this is our starter, as you have seen. Dormouse, our best starter, and then Marcher, which is the only real Maliss base name extender, because this one can be special summoned from the hand, where all of these other ones are normal summons. Very important to note here. Once again, I have pointed this out in the long Dormouse combo. Go check that out for the more explanation-y part of the guide here. If you open with your Chessy Cat and any of the other names, it's super nice. Let's say you open with Chessy and Dormouse. Dormouse is the safest line, but you can also go ahead and Chessy Cat, activate the effect to banish the Dormouse. Dormouse will obviously come back, and then you can draw 2 cards early, which might draw you into a Called By or Crossout. Keep in mind though, then that your Maliss combo will change and it will be less safe from nip. So this is what we are playing, a triple March here. Definitely want 3 of this. Then we are playing the Ash Blossom Maxi. I don't need to explain this. Definitely 2 Gold Sarcophagus as a very good starter. Then we are playing a Talents. You can definitely change this out for whatever you want, but I think having 1 Talents is kind of nice, and we have a lot of draws that we will get. You have seen this in the combos. So drawing into talents even late in the turn to view the opponent's hand is obviously super strong. We are playing triple underground because it's also a starter. Triple Allure of Darkness. Once again, you don't need to play Allure of Darkness. You could also play Bestials. Bestials function as extenders. Obviously, if you have a Maliss monster in the graveyard that has not yet been banished, you can use a Bestial to banish the Maliss monster. Then the Maliss monster will come back, and then you can, for example, make a Splash Mage. Keep in mind though that, and I have mentioned this in the combo guide or in the combo part, that Splash Mage will lock you into a Cybers monster. So if you have Bestials, then keep an eye out for this Splash Mage and maybe use the SP Little Knight like I suggested in the White Rabbit combo. Then we have this Allure of Darkness. Once again, as I said, 2 Call Buys. I think this is very nice to stop the Maxi and other stuff like this. Also in the mirror match, it's very important. And if people should main deck Artifact Lancia, you need this. Crossout I think makes a lot of sense, especially in the beginning, because everyone will be on Maliss, so you can cross out your opponent's Maliss cards. Then 1 Maliss in the mirror is enough. Then replay 1 of each of the traps. You can play this without the TB11, then your plays change a bit. This is possible. You can even make a White Rabbit combo happen without the TB11. Then you would need to set the MTPO7 and play over the March here. We are playing 2 Infinite Permanences, and then a card that you should definitely play is Dominus Impulse. We can play this here without any conflicts basically. I guess we have this Maxi conflict here, but it doesn't really matter because Maxi normally activate before. So Dominus Impulse here, very, very important to play this. This is also very strong against Maliss. You can, for example, negate the Splash Mage. You could also negate a Maliss body from coming back from the banishment. For the extra deck, if you want to play the Terahertz package, which you don't have to play, we play the Desires Worm, the Aggregator, and the Dark Fruit Terahertz. Then we want to play definitely the Firewall Dragon. Accescode is super important, as you have seen in the kill combo. We have an Appaloosa, 1 Crypter, 1 Whitebinder, 1 Red Ransom, super important SP, obviously the Splash Mage. Then you have Masquerina, the Link Spider for making the Nib token into a Cybers monster, then Decoder, and then Linguribo. There's one thing I wanted to mention, and I have mentioned, which is the Haggard Lizardos, also a card that you can consider putting in. This can be made with 2 monsters with different names. You can banish a monster from your face, upfield, or graveyard for cost, by the way, which is very important, and the rest of the effect is not important. The thing is that you can use this guy, so let's say you have a White Rabbit and a Dormouse on the field, make the Lizardos, banish the one that has not yet been banished, and then you also have a 3rd body on the field without having been using the Splash Mage. And then again, at any point you can use the SP for the same thing, just make a Linguribo, make an SP, and then it's basically, well, not basically, it's actually the same, so there's no real need to use this Haggard Lizardos, but this is also an option, so that you have seen it. And then there are other cards you can think about. I've once again mentioned them before, but you can play Shifter if you want, the one-off Shifter. I think it's not that effective because everyone will be on Maliss and you don't want to shift on Maliss. Then you can play Bestials. You could, for example, cut these allures for a Magna Muted Druisworm and a Baldrake. Just try out for yourself what works for you. This one is more high rolly, where you can draw into more hand traps, and the other one is more, it creates a body basically, and can also be an interruption. So you decide for yourself. Chaos Hunter you could play against Maliss, because if this card is on the field, nothing can be banished. Same goes for the Artifact Lancia. Quick effect, you can send this from hand or graveyard to the field to the graveyard, and then at this turn, nothing can be banished. This is the most effective counter against Maliss, which is why you definitely want to run this Card by here. And if you only face Maliss at the early stages of playing the deck, you can definitely think about putting in 3 Artifact Lancia. You could play Fuvalos here, definitely an option. Could put other hand traps out for this. You can also play Droll to basically Droll yourself if you wanted to. So you let your opponent draw a card via Maxi and then Droll yourself, because Droll isn't really effective against Maliss. You are searching basically once with the Maliss in Underground. Obviously this Allure deck here is a bit more susceptible to Droll, because here you actually draw twice. Other than that, Droll is actually not great against Maliss. You can play Dotscaper, which is another option that you can banish via your Red Ransom to generate a body, but with the March here, Dotscaper is actually not that effective, so I wouldn't suggest this, but it is an option. You can play the Topological Bomber Dragon that you can make on your end board in the extra monster zone, and if you special summon something in the main monster zone that this card points to, you can destroy all monsters in the entire main monster zone. This is very effective against an opponent's Maliss deck, because, and I have mentioned this, for Maliss it's very important to create the bodies that can go into one of the Link 3s. If you can keep your Maliss opponent off bodies so that he can never go into one of the Link 3s, he can never really play the game, which is why Topological Bomber Dragon is actually quite nice. You could change the Firewall Dragon Dark Fluid out for this if you wanted to. I would go Firewall Dragon, honestly. I think at the moment it is better until we get the Adignista stuff. can definitely play dark, and this is the first card I would put into, I think, especially in the beginning, maybe putting out this Masquerina here for a dark, because you can revive your opponent's Maliss monsters. You can also just make this on the end board. If it gets destroyed, you can add one of your Maliss monsters from deck to hand. Super strong. I have a Masquerina here for some reason, and you could also play Metatronus if you wanted to, which is a counter for other Maliss cards. So these are some options here. Let me know in the comments if you have any more questions concerning this guide. I will gladly answer them. Thanks for being here, enjoy the deck, and we will see each other in the next one.